Hello, it's Nikki. Welcome to part 2. Right, let's crack on. Let's refer to my list. If you haven't listened to part 1, do go and have a listen. I'm basically talking about some of the visioning, some of the goal setting that I'm doing for the year ahead. And as I'm sharing these things, I hope that there will be some inspiration or even some kind of reminder of like, oh yes, I would like to do that. Oh, I'm going to add it to my list as well. So this is not a comparison thing where I'm saying, well, I'm doing 19 goals, so therefore you have to do X, Y, and Z. This is just a fun exercise, and it's a very creative way of doing it, of building the vision, of being really excited and being in the momentum of what is possible. Okay, so one thing that has really happened over this Christmas holiday, and I'm recording this on Tuesday and my son goes back to school tomorrow. And this Christmas holiday, I feel like my son, who's 6, has really got the essence of Christmas for the first time. He loved the build-up, the lights, counting the wreaths on the way to school. My mum does them an Advent box, one each, so they're opening something really small, like it could be a little pile of post-it notes one day. This is not like a big expensive activity, but they both really got into it. And again, on Christmas Day, my daughter, who's 2, she sort of follows along with the groove, but certainly my 6-year-old, he really got and remembered the rituals of Christmas. And we were really lucky enough to spend time with family, and we managed to go up north to see Matt's side of the family, which was so amazing because Luna, who's nearly 2.5, she'd never been up there because of the pandemic. And so that felt really special to be able to take her, to introduce her to that part of her and who she is. And it was also a really interesting test for me. And I often talk about this in terms of goal setting, that sometimes people assume that you do it once or you take the action and then it all falls into place, or you get the result that you want on the first go. And what I've seen over the years is some manifestations or some goals or some visions come to life really quickly, but some feel like it's almost like a ship that you have to, like a ship can't just do a willy-nilly 3-point turn like one of those little smart cars. A ship really has to be very conscious and very deliberate and turn very slowly. And this Christmas, I decided to try on one of my goals, which is actually going to be for 2023, 2024, which is I have a goal that every Christmas or every school holidays, basically, I'm around for my kids. And yes, there might be pieces of work if they come up, but generally, I'm going to be taking that downtime for myself, for our family, and I really hope that COVID is not around one day where we can go traveling or we can get a camper van or we can stay at home all week, like whatever it might be. But for me to find that rhythm where I'm working in term time and not in holiday time would just be fantastic for me. I would also like to not work at weekends, and I really try not to, but sometimes I just have to if the week is playing out in a peculiar way, or if I need to catch up on stuff, or I've got a lot on at the moment. Sometimes I do need to grab a couple of hours here, there and everywhere. But this Christmas, I started to try it on, and I didn't, how do I describe this? I didn't feel confident or safe enough, if I'm going at that end of the extreme, to fully switch off and have a proper break and just kind of go, yeah, it'll be fine. I'll pick it up in January. because I think I had some underlying anxiety that our school might be closed again. And I remember this from last year, and I remember it, it's all coming back. It all makes sense, doesn't it? That last Christmas, the kids broke up in December, and then my son didn't go back to school until March the 8th. Now, I have I have mixed feelings about this. On one hand, we had some extra lovely time together. But equally, I know how much he loves school, and I know that he found it really difficult. Half of the children from his class were in, so when we would do Zooms, he would be sitting in, but there would be children sitting on the carpet in his classroom, and he found it really upsetting. Anyway, that's by the by. So this Christmas, when I came to think about what this was going to be, I knew I wasn't going to be able to fully switch off. But my intention of just working term time was in the back of my head. So I took this first opportunity to really assess the situation and really think about what I did in December that set me up over Christmas, over the Christmas holidays, that continually brought sales into my business, that grew my business, that allowed my business to give content and give value and spread throughout the world. And I know that sounds a very dramatic way of saying it, but that is fact, without me having to show up and be on for the whole time. Equally, really experimenting with this showed me where I have gaps, showed me where there's work to do, showed me where I'm not quite there yet. And being willing to have a go now and to start that ball rolling now before I get to 2023 or 2024 is going to be invaluable. And this process is one I would love for you to apply to any really big long-term goals that you may have. That we don't just wake up and it's like, oh, here we go. It's just fallen into my lap. Usually it's a process. So take the time to pull together the evidence and really start being in the game right now, even if you're just looking around, even if you're observing, even if you're reading or researching or thinking or planning, whatever it might be. Use all of that opportunity to really see what's underneath there. The next thing I really want to do this year, and one of the things I started back in November, I would love to read 40 books this year. I just chose 40 because I turned 40. But I really want to connect with more telly, more film, more books. I want to read more newspapers. I want to read more magazines. And I want to read across the board. I'm really looking to be challenged, to look at my thinking, to be inspired, to really broaden my knowledge. And so that's one of the things that I'm going to be doing. And if you don't follow me on Instagram already, feel free to go and check that out. It's at Nikki Raby, NICKY Couldn't spell my own name then. There we go. And there's a book highlights on my Instagram. So go and see what I've been reading. And of course, you can read along as well. I would love to say that I'm going to start a book club, but I'm just not. So feel free to take the selections and enjoy them and let me know if you like them. That's our book club. That's it. Okay, the next thing that I'm really going to be working on is separate and together time with my children. I really noticed this, especially at the end of holidays when I spend more time with them. I really want to have individual time with them where I'm really focusing on them one-on-one, because poor kids, especially if they're siblings, and I've only got two, and I know lots of people, even if you don't have children, maybe you grew up in 3 or 4 or 5, however it might be. And that sense of having to share things or always wait your turn or to compromise, Yes, of course, there is a time and a place for that, but also sometimes you just want what you want. So that is something that I'm going to be working on in the new year and really focusing on how I can work on that quality behavior. I'm also going to, I'd like to say break the cycle, but I don't think it's going to happen, but catch the cycle quicker. When I don't sleep, when I'm stressed, I become really anxious. And when I become really anxious, I can't think straight. And when I can't think straight, I overthink things. And when I overthink things, I doubt myself. And when I doubt myself, I doubt everything and everyone I've ever known, and I spiral. And when I spiral, sorry, what a trigger. I should have said a trigger warning with this, because you might be nodding along going, oh, stop. But I'm feeling it out. So yeah, when I spiral, I can take a few days to recover and to gather myself again. And I have to be really aware wherever I can, and I can't always do it because sometimes life just throws things that you're not expecting. I have to do what I can in that situation. So I'm really going to be monitoring these things from now on and being willing to pull out all my tricks in the book to break that cycle quicker, to notice it quicker, to work with it, not against it, and not get to day 3 or day 4 and be feeling like I'm a complete piece of shit and I just don't know what I'm doing with my life. I need to actually look at the evidence, which is, oh, you haven't slept very well. Oh, you've been overworking. Oh, you've said yes to too many things. So that's something that I'm really going to be noticing, and really making sure that my sleep is a priority. I mean, I have 2 small children. One of them does now sleep, but my daughter is still playing musical beds at night time, and it's not fun. So yeah, early nights are absolutely key. Next, where have I got to? Okay, I'd like to do a marathon. I did a half marathon this year by complete accident. I somehow had a magical combination that day where I'd slept well, I ate well, maybe I was in a good place in my cycle. I felt like my mindset was in a really good spot, and I set off through central London on a really long run. And I got to about 18k, and I knew half a marathon was 21.2, I think, or 21.3, something like that. And I thought, actually, I could do that. I know what 3k feels like. And I managed to go a long way home, round the back streets, and I did it. Half a marathon. It was amazing. But I would love to do a marathon. There's something about doing that, and I wouldn't necessarily do it on my own. I would like to do the London Marathon or the Brighton Marathon, and yeah, I think that is on my list. I just need to figure out what we're doing in other areas, some of which I've mentioned earlier, to make sure I've got the time and the capacity to train for it, but I would really love to do that. The final thing that I want to speak about today is in connection, I guess, with that anxiety, stress, overwhelmed, overthinking circle. And that is to keep a close eye on the daily grime and to consciously remove it wherever I can. And sometimes it's not possible to completely remove it, but at least interfere with it. So this is what I mean. If I wake up in the morning and I don't feel good and I haven't slept, my mind, or my comfort zone, I guess, wants to sit in that headspace, wants to message my mum. My mum always messages in the morning like, hello, have a nice day, all of that. the temptation could be like, oh, I slept terribly last night. Oh, the kids were awake. Oh, I've got such a busy day. All of that stuff. That's not very kind to my mum because she doesn't want to start her day like that. And so what I mean is taking responsibility and ownership over the fact that I can have the power and the responsibility to remove or at least adjust some of that daily grime. And so instead of getting to lunchtime where I'm still faffing about or hanging out in my pajamas and all of that comfort zone stuff I want to do, I am going to consciously do what I need to do. And sometimes that's the stuff I don't want to do, because when I'm in that headspace, I'll give myself all kinds of excuses. And this is not sort of toxic positivity or things like that, but this is actually moving out of my own way and going, look, if you just go in the shower, you're going to feel better. Go and brush your teeth. Go make a cup of tea. Go and lay on your yoga mat for 5 minutes. Read 2 chapters of your book. Ask Matt if he will sit with the children while they have their breakfast so I can go in our bedroom and just close the door for 8 minutes. All of these random things really help to adjust that daily grime. Tapping is great. Meditation is great. Visualization, running, sitting mindfully and having a cup of tea. All of those things really work for me. And I know that we are always seeking, or I know that I am always seeking, like maybe there's another quick fix. Maybe there's a hack. Maybe there's something else that I need to buy or try or use or whatever it might be. And another part of that removal or adjusting of the daily grime is for me to pay attention to A, what I have right now, and B, that trust in what I have. So I'm going to be back for part 3 because there's loads to get through here. But I want to see what lands for you today. What is your daily grime removal or adjustment? Like, when does it come up for you? And how can you support it? How can you nurture it? How can you take care of it? How can you be in alignment with it as well? Equally, how can you start to plant some seeds for the next step? And this goal may be further down the line, but I want you to trust that the things that you start to plant right now will come to life, will come to fruition, will make complete sense. Even if they don't right now, even if it feels a big risk, even if you have all the self-doubt, I want you to know that I back you all the way. And remember what I said yesterday. These desires, thoughts, feelings, ideas have been dropped into you for a reason. Please pay attention to them. Please bring them up to the surface and at least give them a good look. You can give them a good look and then go, do you know what? That doesn't feel that great. I'm going to release them. Great, do that. But at least give it that first look. In terms of next steps, you can go to my freebie section. There is loads of stuff. There's a fantastic masterclass all about rewriting your business and life rules this year, which could be a really great one for you. You can come and join your personal brand plan. There's my goal setting course. You can book me one-to-one. There's so many great ways you can work with me. And also, if you're like, actually, I'm not really sure what I need, just email me, let me know what your requirements are. Let's have a chat and we'll go from there. I will be back with you tomorrow for part 3 of this session, but let me know what lands. And do you know what? There's such power in accountability of you saying to me, and of course it will be absolutely confidential, do you know what, Nikki? I'm going to start working on this. Do you know what, Nikki? I've had this idea and I want to bring it to life. Oh, in my Pick and Mix shop as well, there's an ideas audio training as well, which will be great if you want to get the juices flowing, and that is just a £5. So go and check that out too. But in the meantime, rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for listening, sending you lots of love, and I'll see you tomorrow.